Hi, everyone. Happy Disability Pride Month. My name is Nico Meyering. I use he, him pronouns. I'm a white man with blonde hair, dark glasses, and a green shirt seated in front of a purple background. I'm here today with my friend and an entrepreneur, Joseph Resendez. Joey, how are you doing?
Hey guys, humans. I'm fantastic. How about yourself?
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Thank you.
Tell
Thank
us
you.
about yourself.
I've been watching you do this for the past month, and then I've been watching you do many things prior to this project that I'm like, when is he gonna invite me to one of his things? And then I know you invited me to that one thing a few weeks ago, but I was only able to step in for a few minutes. So I saw you do this. I'm like, hey, thanks. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you having me on your show.
Of course, I would love working with you. Joey, tell me, what does disability pride mean to you?
Oh man, I'm glad that someone asked me that question. I've never been asked that question, and for the longest time, I've always not been ashamed of my disability, but in a sense, didn't want to talk about it due to the fact I don't want to be looked at any different than you would anyone else. And we all know the like society, it happens. If even the slightest thing is wrong with you, society, someone in it is going to look at you oddly about it. And that's what I just never wanted. So what disability pride means to me is actually embracing that oddity about you. I embracing it to the fullest potential, using it to take advantage of some aspects of society, or not take advantage, but navigate life a little bit easier. Because I know I've been shooting myself in the foot figuratively by not accepting that I'm a young male individual that has a breathing disability that isn't known to anyone that I know, nor looking at me can it actually be noticed. It's not actually noticed until until something happens, which is very rarely. So majority of the people just look at me as like, oh, there's this other person. So the pride aspect of it is, hey, my name is Joseph. I am I don't know if I can swear or not, but I'm a tough individual who has something about themselves that I always have to be weary or have to pay attention to. But that doesn't mean that I'm any less or any different. We still go out, let's do this. And the pride of it, I'm awesome. Like, that's what makes me awesome.
It does. I love what you're saying here. And I love how you've laid out your thought process, right? Which has taken you throughout your life, going from a place of I'm different and somehow that means I'm less, to instead saying, so if I'm different, then I have to make my own way in the world, which means that I'm resourceful, which means that I'm innovative. And that is also part of disability pride.
You really have to be resourceful and innovative, because as me and you both know, when you step into the corporate life or even just the 9 to 5 life, they don't care whether you have a disability or not. But you know what? I'm going to make them care. I'm going to make them have an understanding as well, in, of course, a respectful way. Don't ever be disrespectful about it. And that there's always ways to go about it. And in me, in a sense, when I started embracing my disability or my oddity, was, hey, sometimes I'll talk myself into a very pale face. What do you mean, Joseph? Well, I have a breathing disability that sometimes I can't control my breathing. Oh, okay. Well, we'll be on the lookout for it. Is there anything that we should really know about it? Well, then I'll go into a little bit detail from there. But you have to find a way to express and inform people of what's not wrong with you, but what issues you may face, so that way they know, so that way if they do arise, they can have that understanding. And they're going to understand, they're going to try to accept it, or they're not. If they don't, then that's when you have to really start to navigate, understand your environment and your situation, especially in a job environment. If it's a job that's not going to accept your disability, or what issues that you may deal with, then at that point in time, you really have to put, hey, is that job more important, or is finding a different job? And you can't always say that job, you can't always quit that position or anything, because then you're left with nothing. And it's better to have something than nothing.
I love it. Thank you so much. This kind of brings me to my next question, and you've gotten into it a bit already, but what lessons have you learned from living a disabled life?
Mm. Well, other than embracing it, because we're all amazing,
We are.
we're all the best. But listen, embrace it. Don't sugarcoat it. Be very upfront with people about whatever you may deal with or may face. Me and yourself, I I talk too much. I get very sidetracked easily, a little bit ADHD, and then I have CCHS, so I I can't sometimes tell my body to breathe. I always have to remember, and I have to find ways to inform those around me. Um, but I learned in life, just because there are struggles that you face in life, um, such as what we deal with, doesn't prevent you from living. I mean, I have lived a very wild life, a very interesting one that we shall not go into. However, living that, I've learned that, like I said, you have to be very upfront with what you deal with. And if you are, life should be a little bit easier than what it typically can be. Because if you don't say anything, it's going to be pretty hard.
That's true. So much effort and so much energy goes into trying to fit in where like you just don't. So why don't you use that energy to make yourself better or to stand out in some way?
That's it right there. To stand out on your own, because to fit in, that's never gonna happen.
Mhm.
That, out. You toss that out the window. That'll never happen. Anyone that's watching this, if you're young right now, even if you're older, get that out of your head. You'll never fit in. And I'm not saying that in a negative way at all, because that's not a negative thing. It shouldn't be looked at as a negative thing. As I say, it should be looked at as a positive, because here, this is the way I like to phrase it, is I don't put up with excuses. So my friends or my colleagues, they'll wake up and they'll be like, "Oh my God, I deal with this issue, very trivial issues." And whereas me, it's like, "Oh man, Miku, I don't really want to hear it. Like, I just had to deal with, because I forgot to put on my BiPAP half the night. Now I'm dealing with a migraine with CO2 levels that are not level. My breathing is inadequate right now, and I still got to deal with this 9 to 5 job, pay my bills, and everything else on top of it. And yet you're complaining about what? What? No, no. So that when once you get that kind of understanding that you have that ability to do more than the average person, it gives you that superhero mindset. But I'm not a superhero. I'm not going to stop any bullets or anything like that. Like, come on. But I'll admit, it does make me a little bit amazing. And that's what I'll always have. And that's why my colleagues or whatever, they'll be like, "Oh, you're amazing, Joseph." I, I actually am. You have no idea what I deal with on a day-to-day basis just to wake up. Like I don't know about you. I have an issue waking up. I have a very bad issue of waking up. And that's because sometimes I'll wake up like 6 in the morning, take off my BiPAP, right? I sleep with a mask, and then I'll fall right back asleep,
Mhm.
right? And here I am uh, like I'm hungover. And it's just like, no, I like here you are like a boss yelling at me for being 5 minutes late. It's like, what? No, 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 no. I, I'm not going to deal with this. I'll do the job. You know I have a disability. Leave it at that. So it's not fitting in ever. It's Nico, you're amazing. You Joseph, you're amazing. Kathy, you're amazing. You have something about you that the average person has no idea how to handle. And if they did, their mind would probably explode.
Mhm.
Hopefully not. You know, you know.
I think you raise a good point, though, which is that not only people with our shared condition, but disabled people in general do a lot more work day in and day out just to get through the day, just to hit the same um, landmarks or milestones. Milestones is the word I was looking for, just to succeed. And ultimately, we can put that same work ethic toward a lot of really successful things.
And, and that's true. I'll use a great example, and I am glad that I can use this example. So there's a girl. There's a brother and sister,
Mhm.
Michaela and Austin Depp. They are wheelchair bound. They deal with some sort of disability that even all right, here's their hand. Even if you move their finger up like that, it'll break like this whole area. I have no idea what that disability is. Um, Guys, if you end up watching this, please message me one day and tell me. But listen, they don't let that stop them. Austin is like working a job in college. He drives a car now. He drives a minivan. Michaela is doing all that, and she's doing a YouTube channel. She's traveling the United States. She was up on the NYC 500 billboard. You know that electronic one in the center of Times Square. She was on that. So it's like whatever you face or deal with, you just learn how to use that as a benefit. Or I always hate the word advantage.
Mhm.
As anyone can tell from watching this, my grammar or my vocabulary is not as pristine as our amazing host, Nico's, is. However, just use it to the best of your ability. And find a way to do so. If you don't know how, if you have no idea how, well, think of it and do it. If it fails, think of something else. Keep on going until you find one that works. Or do the better route. Find someone that is already making a name for themselves or doing something that you thought they couldn't, that faces the same issues that you do, and talk to them. My example is Nico.
Aw.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Don't all this. But listen, he already knows, to all the viewers, he already knows that I look up to him, the way he navigates the corporate life. I have a real issue of navigating the corporate life and the political life because I'm in a sense of a rebel, and he is actually a strong proponent of disabilities and invisible disabilities, or all disabilities. That's why we're in conversation right now. And so when I look at something, because I have CCHS and I dealt with Hodgkin's lymphoma stage 3 cancer. When I look at ways, how do I get it? How do I get political? How do I get involved with my city? How do I express my disability? Well, Nico is luckily a good reference to look to, oddly enough, and thankful for. Thank you, Nico.
Of
Keep doing
course.
what you're doing. But that's my example. I don't know what other people's examples would be. Nico, I don't know what your example would be for you, but whatever you face doesn't have to stop you at all. It just stops you from doing something to the fullest. You just, like all these politicians do, find a loophole. All right, I won't get political. I'm sorry. I'll see myself out the door. Bye-bye. Okay.
I mean, I think we can all agree that politicians are great at finding loopholes for things. So I want to kind of flip that question on its head. We all have lessons that we've learned as part of being disabled. And that means that also we've had to sometimes unlearn some lessons that maybe we learned as kids that don't really bear out as adults. So Joe, what is something you've had to unlearn as part of your disabled journey?
I have three things for you, Nico.
Hit me.
First, Joseph. Sorry, it's okay. But or Joe, I don't know. But two, what did I have to unlearn? Ooh, I had to unlearn I'm not an invincible. When Jenny passed away, that's what like psychologically that like made a twitch or like I don't want to say snapped or something, but like that really put fear into me because I grew up with her. And anyone that's watching this, that's a friend of mine that had CCHS and had passed away. Because prior to that, I was living a life of I want to be an example to all the people that come after me. Yeah, that come after me with CCHS. So I lived my life very on the edge, very, very on the edge. So I had to unlearn that, to know that like you, the even though you're amazing, Joseph, um, there are issues that you face and you'll have to acknowledge, and which is a part of race. So I had to learn. I had to face my issues. Now, what I did learn is just because I do have issues and a disability doesn't mean it will stop me from everything else, because it doesn't. Like I said, I live a very Hunter S. Thompson-esque life all the way until it was until her passing, and before that was until I got cancer. When I got cancer and her passing was really just like, gotta unlearn, like you're not in it.
I admit that I was not expecting to discuss Jen today, but yeah, that was a real gut punch because it came out of nowhere.
Yep.
Man.
Yeah, that's what brought me into like, hey, Joseph, get your like you deal with the CCHS, even though yours isn't as severe as everyone else's. It's like, okay, sleep with the BiPAP half or 75% of the night. If you can, like, please do that. Prefer the whole night, but come on now.
Yeah, it's definitely like an adjustment, right? And to some degree, that's inescapable because our relationship with our bodies for disabled people or for able-bodied people, that's always going to change throughout your lifespan. But there are definitely other considerations that I have also had to take more seriously as I've gone into like my 30s and now beyond. So I'm
Well,
with you there.
with us, for people that don't know, ours is basically, we could sleep one day and never wake up. That's like that's the most severity of what we deal with. Just for anyone that's watching. So it's like, hey, I'm not gonna fall into this 9 to 5 life. I'm gonna live it to my own accord, whether I'm rich or poor. And now with social media and technology, I can tell everyone. As you personally see, I'm on LinkedIn all the time, like telling my story, like, hey, listen, you guys are all business owners. Well, listen to someone that has a disability and it was an employee or is an employee. You get it firsthand.
We love telling stories of disabled success. We love telling stories of disabled joy. Joseph, I've loved hearing your story so far. This brings me to my last planned question, right? What is
Ask me
what,
a
what is
question.
one thing you want non-disabled people to know about disability life?
It sucks.
Okay.
No, like in all honesty, it does. Don't sugarcoat it. Anyone who says otherwise is, to me, my personal opinion, is BS in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You got to fight for proper medical care, more so than what the average person has to deal with. You got to deal with the job that accepts you,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you have issues that arise. You got to go see a doctor more than usual. You got to be more cautious. There are some things that you can't do that other people can do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on now. But I want them to have that understanding that because it sucks, I just named off all those things as to why, which are more things that we have, anyone that has a disability could or may or does go through on a daily basis. So I have a gosh darn understanding. I have an understanding that it sucks. Like, we're amazing because we don't show that it sucks, Steve, to the average person, to the muggle.
The muggle. I like it.
Is that, I used the right word, right?
I think you can put your understanding across. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. So, like, come on, have an understanding. Like, okay, a great example: corporate life. Corporate life. They don't care about anything other than the status quo and profits. Okay, all right, I get it. I understand. So tell your managers that that's all you care about, and they have an understanding. So when I come in 15 minutes late, 20 minutes, good example. I come in 30 minutes late to a sales job, my old sales job, 1-800 account. But come in 30 minutes late, job yelling at you, hey man, we need Joseph, we need you to have come in at this time. Really? It's a sales job. Why? Well, power hours at this time. Well, I had issues last night. Like I'm clearly not purposely coming in. Well, we don't care. Okay. End of the day, banged out my status quo, my sales. Why are you complaining? As long as the job gets done, why complain? That's another thing. Anyone that doesn't have a disability that is a manager, which, in my opinion, should not be a job, owns a company, or has employees, or anyone under them, just have an understanding. Like, we deal with stuff, okay? And yeah, that goes with anyone that doesn't have a disability. Like, we deal with stuff that you don't deal with. And what you're like, one person I know complains about like people calling them names. And it's like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Sticks and stones hurt your bones, but words may never hurt, or words never hurt. It's like, I got more important issues. Like, I just want them to be like, live a week in my shoes with my disability. All right? Like, forget using your BiPAP one day, one whole night. Tell me how you feel going to work the next day. Don't complain. Tell me how you feel. I know how we feel. I know how me and you feel. But they don't. And sometimes you just want to punch them in the face. But you can't. You can't. But you want to. Like, I have a current boss. I don't care if they see this or not. But he's just like complaining about all like stuff that he does during the workday. And I'm just like, okay, but after work, what do you do? What do you do? He's like, I go home, crack open a beer, play video games. Okay. Well, me, I gotta do the 9 to 5. I go train jujitsu because I want to be active. I want to live a life. I want to be fit and learn self-defense. After that, I get home, cook dinner at like 10 at night. And then, because I don't want to stay at a 9 to 5 my whole life and explaining why why I have a disability and I'm coming in or having to take an extra break. I got to work on growing my business from 11 to 2 in the morning. Remember to put on a BiPAP and come into work. I told that to them, and he's like, he shut right up. And it was just like, yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You got that understanding. You got that understanding, and it's like, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't be complaining to this person. I'll complain to this other person, right? Like, and that's what I love about having a disability, though, is because it's shown me how fragile life is. And it's like, I'm gonna live it. Anyone who's watching this, live life. Don't waste it at no 9 to 5. Do it if you have to. Nico, do it if you have to, but don't. Like, life is way too fragile.
Yes, and you only get one.
Yeah, and having a disability is like, oh, can I say that was an answer to one of your other questions? Like
Sure.
what it taught me? You know, that should be a part of one of your questions, is what it's taught me.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know,
Good idea.
I love you, Nico. But listen,
I love you, Joseph. I know that we have a short amount of time remaining. Joseph, where can people find you online? Go ahead and promote yourself. This is your chance.
Nico, man. Oh, man. All right, well, everyone, my name is Joseph. I operate the highly recommended. That is anything and everything that is highly recommended. I created it because I'm trying to step away from the 9 to 5 life. I do articles, I do videos. I started from photography. I love photography. Um, I do reviews, and I focus on jujitsu because I do that. I focus on cannabis because I do that as well, allegedly. And I focus on food because that I eat a lot of food. Um, and you could find me on Instagram at JRESENDEZ as in zebra 6060, or the highly recommended.org. And I'm posting articles, videos, interviews all the time. Any looking for sponsors all the time as well, or potential highly recommenders like Nico.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Oh, on Instagram is the highly recommended _. I'm on LinkedIn all the time doing business. Joseph Resendez. So Joseph, like Mary and Joseph, but not that holy. I know, knee slapper. I got him in me.
That was
But
good. That was good.
Resendez, RESENDEZ, Z as in zebra, and that that's how you can find me.
That's fantastic. Joseph, thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Have a good rest of your night.
Nico, thank you for having me.
Of
And
course.
keep up the good work.
The work never stops. Take
All
care,
right,
my friend.
I'm gonna have you on my show. You as well. See ya.